I noticed that the president of Quidditch UK, Matt Bateman, said that it fully supported this change. And he said, and I quote, "We cannot continue to call ourselves Quidditch and be associated with JK Rowling while she continues to make damaging and hateful comments against the many transgender athletes, staff and volunteers who call this sporting community home." Now, I don't know what proportion of trans people play Quidditch, the real-life version. I have no idea. But what do you think he means by her damaging and hateful comments?
From a lot of people's points of view, a lot of the things that she said over the last sort of 2 or 3 years have been quite anti-trans in nature. But ultimately, that's just kind of their right, just as she has her right to express her concerns and opinions about trans issues. They're entitled to say, well, actually, we don't agree with those. We don't really want to be associated with it anymore.
What had she said?
Oh, gosh, if I had the memory of 2 or 3 years worth of history of JK.
No, I'm not expecting you to tell me everything she said, but bearing in mind that you are kind of firmly in the camp of Matt Bateman here, you must have some idea of these hateful... It's a very strong word, hate, and when you use it in close proximity with the word JK Rowling, for some people that's an uncomfortable marriage there, because people think of JK Rowling as, this is somebody who's brought amazing literature to young people. People started reading because of JK Rowling, and the last time I looked, I can't imagine what on earth she's done wrong, and now she's being accused of essentially running a hate campaign.
I mean, I'm not him, so I can't tell you what it is particularly that she said that he doesn't like. I do know that she said certain things that a lot of people find quite problematic, because she opened up support about something written by Lisa Littman, which was a study that coined the term rapid onset gender dysphoria. That study has since been broken down by a lot of scientists, like Joshua Safer of the Mount Sinai Center for Transgender Medicine and Surgery, to say that unfortunately that publication was very poorly put together, so it's kind of outdated pseudoscience that she's backing, so that's quite hurtful for a lot of trans people.
But she might have, I mean, we often hear that, you know, somebody comes up with a survey and then it's discounted and dismissed by another group who sit in a different part of the argument. But I'm just trying to work out this. I mean, it's not just this story, is it? If you think about it, we've discussed her many times on the programme, Felix, when we've talked about other issues where people are boycotting, burning Harry Potter books. You know, people would do this with a despotic dictator, not the Harry Potter author. This is hysteria, isn't it?
I mean, to me personally, I don't support any book burning, regardless of how you feel about the author. To me, that's a quite bizarre form of censorship. But she has said some slightly worrying things, like she referred to medical transition as a new form of conversion therapy for gay people. Personally, to me, as someone who is both trans and gay, I do find that quite offensive and quite a dangerous thing.
I think she was talking about it for some people, not for all. She was concerned about what she, and I'm paraphrasing here, saw as or described as the sort of the rapid increase in young people being referred for treatment, sometimes drug treatment, but ultimately for other more serious and irreversible procedures. And she felt, as many others do, that process is being accelerated at a worrying rate when some people may not even be trans, they might just be gay.
Well, given the current climate of the NHS, so I can only speak for the UK specifically, waiting list times are so long that anyone who is a minor and under the age to get, say, hormone therapy, but could be possibly put through for hormone blockers, won't actually ever receive those. The waiting list times are so long that they will never receive any form of medical treatment. And that's been the while for quite a few years now. So in my personal opinion, the chance of anyone being rushed through is incredibly unlikely.
Well, no, I think, yes, I think those comments were kind of pre-pandemic and the like, but I still struggle with the hate thing. Why do we define this, that somebody who has a different opinion that probably sits in the same place as the majority of people, I would suggest, Felix, is hateful? Because that's kind of like saying, I want to have a debate about immigration, and someone said, well, you must be a racist then. It's that again, isn't it?
I think when it comes to topics around marginalised communities, it's very easy to get very impassioned, and words like hate do slip out very easily. But at the end of the day, if someone who is in a more vulnerable position feels that they're being done hard by it, they're terms that they're going to use. But it is ultimately free speech, whether they choose to use hate or a less strong word. If that's how they feel, we have to ensure that people are allowed to express that.
Felix, thank you. Felix Fern, co-founder of the grassroots activism team, Trans Activism UK. Is JK Rowling seriously a figure filled with hate? I mean, this stuff is so preposterous. I mean, it shouldn't in many respects. I'm probably guilty of giving airtime to something that I shouldn't be. But I saw the Quidditch story, and I know there's a copyright issue as to why they had to change the name. But when I hear the head honcho of all things that are Quidditch related in the UK, the president of Quidditch UK, said he supported the name change. We cannot continue to call ourselves Quidditch and be associated with JK Rowling while she continues to make damaging and hateful comments about the many transgender athletes, staff, volunteers who call this sporting community home. I mean, I would wonder whether there are many Quidditch players that also happen to be trans, unless it is somehow, and I don't say this to be crass, unless there's some natural association. I don't know that the trans people have gravitated towards... I can't imagine there is. So I don't know what proportion of Quidditch players are trans. I have no idea. But the idea that we dress up anything JK Rowling says that you find disagreeable as full of hate is the reason why people can't get along at the moment. It's the reason why we're messed up. It's the reason why we're in this divisive place, because we caricature an argument that we disagree with as being, well, it must be racist, it must be full of hate. This word hate that people are lobbing out left, right and centre. Get in the bin, for goodness sake. And I include Matt Bateman in that.